The film begins with Dan renting a room in a hotel because it is a bit old, and he knows the hotel owner all his details so that she can book a room for him. Now we know that her name is Laura, and she lives in the hotel. This is her and her daughter Clara. Laura then tells him, I knew you would come from the beginning. We know. It turns out that the police are the ones who chose this hotel, so that he would stay there throughout the surveillance period after he got out of prison, and this way he comes and goes to the officer, and he shows him the places he can go. During the monitoring period, he starts putting a tracking device on his leg, and he knows that he must stay in. He clarified it before the hour. Lunchtime arrived. You know Laurent just got out after being in prison, and you ask him, his mother, if this man could become her father's friend. And we know here, my friend, that Clara's father is also imprisoned, but Dora tells her daughter that her father is in another prison, different from the prison he was in, so she asks, including the somewhat small girl who goes to visit their father, but the state does not approve, and tells her, every time I find him in a different prison, and I won't be able to take you with me, and she says to her, my darling, write him a letter, and I will deliver it to him. Then Clara says to her that she doesn't want to tell him anything, and she wished. You barely see him. And on the same night, we see Clara buying some forbidden things from someone in the street, and Cabell's tail is with her from afar, but not. The man started to intervene, spending time, and who is monitoring, and he doesn't want some problems. He decided to start clean after he got out of prison the next day. Danny goes to have breakfast like that because the open buffet is during the day, and as soon as Clara sees him, she goes to him and asks him, but he doesn't respond to her. He teases her and continues his breakfast. She grabs his cigarette box, and he quickly pulls it away from her. And still, he doesn't respond to her. Then his mother comes in. At this time, he asks if he liked the room, and she tells him. Afterwards, he realizes that most rooms have problems, and she chose the best room for him, and he keeps asking her. And he asks her what problems exist in the rooms. Will you show me? So Laura starts showing him the leak in the room, which is damaging the walls in front of the door. He is pleased with her because he will fix for her all the things that exist in this hotel in exchange for 2 months' rent, but she tells him she agrees only in exchange for 1 month, not. Then, the two go down to buy all the things they need to organize the rooms. And after he goes out to take out what he broke, he sees everything. The side of his face, and she keeps trying to talk to him in every way, but he is staying next to her. Sometimes she suggests that they go eat together, and this is because his mother is out and there is no one. She ate in the place, and she is very hungry, unfortunately. They will agree if she tells them on the condition that she keeps her hands off my mind and leaves. As for me, when the food arrives and he sits on the table, a radio opens in Arabic and you keep asking it about everything in its life and you get to know it. Then that her father is imprisoned like him and you shape him afterwards for her mother. She refuses to let him visit. And maybe now her father is the one who doesn't want her to see him, and this is affecting her psychologically a lot. Whenever the time comes, he tells her it might be difficult for your father, you want to see him? In a case like this, and that there isn't. A father would like his daughter to see a view like this at that time. Then Clara asks him, do you have children? Didn't you let them visit too? Just? He says, no, I don't have kids and I'm not married at all. And he continues with the tourism business, and she keeps telling him. How much does she miss her father? She is struggling with dealing with her mother and doesn't know what to do. What is this? What does he tell her? This sadness. I suffocated myself, Oshika. And he starts asking about work in the place. Then they both go, and on the way, Clara sees a stray dog like that, and she wants to pet it, but a sin. He tells her as soon as you get to him, he will come running from you, and really as soon as you arrive, all the dog comes out, running and tiring Clara. She is surprised and says to him, this dog? Why? He knows now that he is not. I trust her to make her touch him while they leave. The two know about what happened and go to talk with Dan, and you know that her daughter is playful and maybe she loves him because her father is not there, but Dan bait of her. And he knows that he will never look at a girl in Omar. Her children got scared, and then her heart felt reassured at that time. And he tells her to come take food money from her. But he, of course, refuses to take money from her, and he tells her so. He says this, and of course, she doesn't want him to break her spirit and for her to be indebted to him. So she makes him food and gives it to him while pretending to talk. She then starts asking him about the words that Clara said to him. He's telling her this. All the nonsense you kept saying was about food. Do you know what comes next? That Clara's father wants to get a divorce. He loved her, but she got to know another woman and loved her. Besides, he advised her to tell her daughter because she was no longer young, and surely she would understand on her own. As soon as he gets out of prison or doesn't return home, and it's better this way. She learns from what she knows, not from strangers, so she listens. She looks for his words. She feels that Dan is right in everything. A word the next day, I go to the restaurant. After he found him work, and as soon as he enters the kitchen, he is shocked by his appearance. Well, the owner of the place knows him. Dishwasher broken? That's why they brought it to wash all this stuff by hand, and it keeps leaving and going to get ready. For the battle he's getting into, he starts washing all the dishes after he makes sure that the washing machine is really broken. The man has become indifferent. And he washes the walls throughout the entire kitchen, and after he finishes cleaning, he starts repairing the washing machine. She comes to him at that time, and she gives him a bite like that to support him. And you try to talk to her and open up a bit, but he tells her, I need to continue working. Then he falters, and you realize that he is not a social person, and you leave him. He finishes eating and walks. By the end of the day, we see Dan still cleaning the place and taking out the broken washing machine motor to get another one while Lewis goes out and invites her to have a drink with him. Does he actually sit and drink with her? And what does she say to him? Why did you dump on us? So he tells her, of course, the one in command. From me, if I come to you from prison, and I have just gotten out and said I will start a clean life anew, you celebrate it and call it atonement. Oh, father of the beasts, the asphalt fire, in one time. I notice that the time is, and this means that he is late. So he goes running to his room, and as soon as Baird responds to the police, he keeps apologizing for the delay, and he tells them he is late because there is no new work. The police accept his apology, but they inform him that is this the last time for him? And if he is late by a second, he goes back to prison. What do they want from him? And it takes you away from the work information that he works on. And instead of leaving the room, he hears Clara and Hat talking to Maha on the phone. That day becomes her father's visiting day, and she keeps. She asks her about him. Tomorrow she will decide to listen to Dan's advice. And she finds out about every decision, and this is because her father has only 1 month left before he gets out of prison. Clara then. She is shocked when she learns that her father has decided to separate from Almara, and she keeps asking her many questions that have no answers while she talks to her. And he would want to leave her alone, but he is afraid for her that nothing happens to her, and he keeps listening to her from behind the door, or through terror. She collapses from crying. She pees by herself, and he goes to smoke a cigarette, and once she goes Clara cat and hits him. And of course, he dedicates himself to her, so she tries to jump out of the window. But the surprise is that he is not even in the room. But suddenly you are surprised by Jen giving her the forbidden things, and here we find out that he was her father's friend. In prison already, and he tells her to ride with him. The car because it needs something new. Jim. She has very strong contrabands and starts to assault. Laura is on it. She kept trying in every way to escape from him, but he was stopping her at the same time. Now this was being outside of his point because he's rigid and wants something. He drinks it, but is surprised by a screaming sound coming from outside. The place, of course, runs at full speed. Why? Because he wants to know what is happening at the same time. Clara was able to escape in it from the car, but the wounds remain in her body with many injuries. And she tries to escape, but her body is weak and fragile. On the ground, Jim then starts attacking him again. And he tries to get back up, but gets a surprise when he finds blood on his face, so he starts running quickly. Danny tries to get it, But he is shocked when he finds that he has a gun and is very worried about Clara being hit by a stray bullet that comes in and kills her, repeated by the prisoner. He withdraws from the place, takes some of it, and runs away. He goes with blood. Then he checks on Clara and picks her up and takes her into the house. And after she calms down, he tries to find out, who is this man? And she is the one who gets her out. Hotel. Originally, the girl doesn't accept to tell him anything. Something because she won't tell him that this is the dealer. Her thing, and they take some of it to go to sleep. And Danny keeps pressing her. Who is this? And what is it? That got you out? Until the girl completely breaks down. One says to my father he will not come back again to get my right. And she breaks down from crying. Nearby, he takes some and leaves when I feel that she is very collapsed in. The next day he goes to his work, but still, he stays with Clara and blames himself for what happened to her. And he keeps fixing the washing machine until it works. Finally, when he goes, she goes back and asks him if anything happened yesterday with Clara, and this is because she is injured on her face and she refuses to tell her. The reason, and everything she is trying to convince her of, is that she got into a fight at school, but she doesn't believe her. Next to her, he says to her, I don't know anything about your daughter. And she can't say anything, so she tells him, fine, then report it to the police. He asks her, what is the reason? She tells him, it could be that someone assaulted her daughter while she was. She is afraid to speak, and she has never told her because they haven't gotten along since her father died in prison. As long as he keeps advising, she should be patient this time and understand his advice. Right? And if it was newer this time, then I repeat, she listens to his words because she feels confident in him. The next day, I go to play it again, and it continues all. Today, the man is washing the gold in the washing solution. She asks him if he can go out and make her happy a bit in the living room. And indeed, when he goes out, he gets shocked. The older one, when she finds Jim in the restaurant and keeps watching him while he is unaware and thinks about what he might be doing and waits until he leaves the restaurant. And he goes out after him, and as soon as he gets into the car, he sits on him and keeps hitting him very hard, without any mercy. And he keeps bleeding from every spot on his face, and he started blaming me for the car and driving very fast until he arrives and the road is blocked. He gets very nervous as soon as he discovers that Jim died from the force of the hit he took, and then he starts searching the car. And he finds gasoline bottles and some contraband he takes. He left the gasoline, and it soaked the whole car, and he tore off all the clothes that had blood on them. He sets it on fire, both the car and them. Then he takes some and runs away from the place quickly. But if he wasn't considering that someone saw him lighting the car and then went back to the kitchen again, and if she comes to him, she blames him. Because he is going to take a walk at a time like this. And they have work pressure next to him, he gets very stressed. And he is not focused on Louie's talk, but she isn't. She takes care, then blood cleans the wound that happened in his hand. And we know that he took Jean's gun before he set the car on fire and hid it inside. The dishwasher is like this because we need it for something. And he leaves at the end of the day very stressed. And the man is afraid of going back to prison again, and as soon as he arrives at the hotel, they take him to go to a gang. But Nora keeps hitting him to some extent. He opens for her, and you know that the police came to the hotel. And he's not here, because they were doing an empty search. Murder. One in the area, and this is after no car. You burn while he is in it, and ask, and then if. Why is this related to what happened next to Bedoter? At this time. But he repeats it, he doesn't lie to her. And he tells him the truth, and I tell her that I am the one. I actually killed him, and his death was from the beating, and this man, who assaulted Clara when he traveled to visit your husband. Nora is now getting the big shock in. At that time, and you tell him, why didn't you tell me? He says, I waited with you so that I wouldn't tell you, and I must live up to the promise. So she gets even more upset later when she finds out. What does it have to do with her daughter? She is devastated and doesn't tell her anything, and he knows that he has no right to hide something like this from her, because her mother would collapse behind it. The punishment comes after that. and he asks her, "Why did you do this? And why did you kill Dan?" Then, he tells her, "I was feeling guilty like this because I couldn't save her before." Like that. And at the same time, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to kill him. But if you prefer to blame him because he didn't report the incident. As soon as he saw his daughter, she is flowing in her blood. He did not hand this man over to the police. As soon as he saw him, she kicked him out of the place and came to her. A nervous breakdown, and you prefer to break everything around her, and losing control, he starts holding her and tries to calm her down and tells her not to worry. And the next day, the man goes to work and continues. He cleans the whole place as if he is trying to cleanse himself of all crimes. It's not just about cleaning the place, and at lunchtime he goes out to smoke a cigarette outside the place and finds Clara is in front of the restaurant. And this would be the first time they see each other after the incident that happened before this, and Clara is finally able to leave her room. And she keeps checking on Dana, not knowing anything about the incident that happened. I notice she has something in her hand, so they go into the kitchen. And she knows that she brought an AIDS test, and it will be. She will be afraid to take it. That's why she came to me, Dan. He keeps trying to reassure her and helps her until they do it. The test, and after the result comes out they realize that she has nothing, thank God, from joy. When she knows it's fine and she hugs, and she tells him, go to school. And this is because she is still young and goes through many things. And she must be stronger than this. So Clara is happy with the words and tells him, you are braver than my father. And if he were here now, he wouldn't be saying half of the things you say and then go to school afterward. And the man continues. His work will finish later. This is work. He goes to the hotel and stays like that every day, going to work and returning. The hotel tidies the rooms, and that's it. During this period he became the development of the relationship between Dano and Laura. And Laura, every day she waits for him and tells him everything that happened with her daughter so he can give her some advice on how to deal with her. She was with her daughter and she was upset because of Clara. Now she has started to hate her father and is not waiting like before, so she reassures him or lets him know that he is. Her father remains, and no matter how much she feels that he left her for loving another woman, she will continue to love him. We then find out the story of your father, Loretta, and that he is the one who bought the hotel. And he loved his wife and daughter very much before all the debts piled up on him, and he kept working with a gang of criminals to pay off all their debts. And one day, when he went out to carry out a new operation, he got arrested. And all this talk happened 2 years ago, and since then he has been in prison, and Jean was with him in the same. The gang she talks to him about, and every time she imagines that he had a relationship with her daughter, she feels how much of a negligent mother she is, because she didn't notice the sculptor. Her father will definitely affect them, but he knows that she is carrying more than she can handle. He was both a father and a mother, and he knows that he should stay with them and take care of them. Until the one who did this knows, it will reach them somewhere. Where? The next day, he goes to his work. As usual, but he is now surprised by 2 people breaking in. Ollie went to the kitchen, and with him was the man who saw Dan while he was setting the car on fire. Certainly, the man is the one who set the car on fire, and he responds with the place. After that they keep asking Dana many questions, I mean about the forbidden things that were in Arabic, but she doesn't understand any of them. Something, and this is because they are Germans and both are stupid. And he gets angry and on him because they don't think he doesn't want to. He answers, but he can understand that he is not talking German. At that time someone started talking to him. And he realized that he wanted to recover the variety he had burned. And this is because the goods that went with him were in their origin, but he says I don't know. Life, what are you talking about? I'm just washing dishes, and then someone attacks him and hits him. He is very brutal in his face, but this is faster than. He responds to her strike and attacks the other man. But he falls to the ground himself. He also comes to him at this time, and he sees what we are doing and gets a big shock. But he leaves the place so that no one in the prayer feels anything. And he goes back to continue his work, and before leaving the restaurant, he takes Jin's gun that was covered in the dishwasher, and this is because he feels that this time is not He needs something like this, a material that goes and is able to repair the gun and also operate it. But then he gets a flashback like that and feels like he's back to square one. Again, and between prison, he will be arrested and there is no. It's easier than that. I started the reason for the tracking device that he is tied to his body and he prefers the next 2 days. In the same whirlpool, waiting to get caught at any moment, or for the gang to come to him and finish him off because he burned their goods, and one day it ends. Work finishes and he leaves the restaurant. He is surprised by Clara in his face, and she tells him that he has been coming home late for 2 days, and she hasn't seen him at all. Next to him, she knows him. He might leave at any time and abandon her. And he has to say those 2 words when he feels that she has started to get attached. Now she blames him. She knows she's not. He wants to leave because he feels that he is like her father, but Thorne calms her and lets her know that even if her father was here, he would have a week to leave, and that she could never replace her father with a stranger, and he will anyway stay by her side, but not in her father's place. And suddenly, he hears the sound of the dog that is in. The place barks, so he tells her to go inside. But once he finds a man in front of them shooting at them, he will enter a room in the back and lock it. And she says to her, "Don't move no matter what happens," and he goes. He hides in another place, waiting for someone to enter the place. And 2 members of the gang enter at that moment. And one of them goes to open the door of the room where they are all hiding, and then he gets scared and starts shooting at it, so she enters at that moment. He runs to the place and makes a sound because, of course, he runs after him and leaves Clara in a loop, and as soon as he leaves the place, he finds someone sitting in. He speaks Arabic and tries to attack him, but he is able to hit him, causing him to fall to the ground. Then he runs away and comes out behind the other 2, and they continue running after him. And they shoot at him, but this is hiding once. One shoots at one and a bullet comes in. His head dies in that hour, and the second Peggy. And he fires at Danube. He might drop the gun from his hand, and they both enter into a very violent fight, forcing him to hold them by the neck, so he lets go. And because they are this determined, and by the way, I bring the gun to finish him off and get rid of all the worry, that's it. But he gets shocked when he finds Clara in front of him while she tries to stop him, and you keep crying, but he tells her, "Don't cry because you're no longer a child," and he runs away from the place. Clara tries to stop the man's bleeding. Before he dies, he will leave at the same time. The one who has been running in the streets and doesn't know where to go and knows here is his fate, but he decides that he won't go back to prison again, and he hits while going up on the tracking device on his leg and leaves it while continuing to run until once a car stops in front of him, and it is her thinker is affiliated with a gang, and someone is coming to finish him off. But here we discover that this is Laura, and she came to help him escape, and the next day we find out that Laura managed. She runs away, and the place is very far from the scene of the incident. And she makes her coat and gives it to him to keep him warm. What is she saying goodbye to? Knowing that this is the last time you will see him in it, and after all these events that happened, in about 2 months we see Clara going to meet her father after he got out of prison. And she remembers all the words that Duncan says to her so that she doesn't hate her father and understands why he said that to her. And simply, my friend, this would have made his life remains very difficult when you live and she hates her father. Then we see Clara with the dogs. And she keeps making them trust her this time, and she calls. They are from a distance. The dogs go to her and get happy. Clara a lot, and this is because he was her father for 1 month. And her chest with a lot of things? Her father wouldn't teach her that, and these things will make her able to live, even if he is not present, and the film ends like that, my friend.